The podcast is ready.
That's not how we start the show.
How do we start? Oh, shit, I fucked it up. I already messed up.
All right, back to one.
Oh, okay.
Hey, the podcast is ready.
Are you happy now? Are you happy?
Thank you. Excellent.
Get off my back.
Very
dude.
good. Very
Get off
good.
my back. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of HyperCast. We are in week 3 of Camp Social Distance.
And we don't hate each other yet, so I think we're doing okay.
We'll see after Blockbuster game today, though.
Yeah.
That's going to change a lot of the ways I feel about you.
If I beat you again, then you owe me dinner. Just letting you know that.
I'm buying you dinner.
That's right.
I don't even have a bank account, motherfucker.
That's okay.
I'm not buying you anything.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Who pays me? Nobody.
Your wife pays you with affection, and then you have a dog.
All right.
And I have all three of you.
Have
so get
nothing.
out of here.
You have nothing, but you're still buying dinner.
Yeah,
We'll argue about the game later.
Okay.
We're introducing the show right now. Remember?
Yeah, that's true. What are we doing here today?
I don't know. What are we doing
today?
Do
I know you?
Hey everybody, I'm Zach Lim Eubank. I am the CCO here at Hyper RPG. Welcome everyone to the show that I guess it's a show now. This used to just be a once-a-week podcast, and now it's daily because,
not anymore.
Like you, we are living through a pandemic. Everyone right now is on lockdown, hopefully around the world. If you're not on lockdown yet,
turn around, go inside, and wash your goddamn
Whatever
hands.
the hell you're doing, stop it. Go inside, wash your hands, and be a responsible human being, for the love of God. And so, like you, we're stuck at home, and we thought we might as well share what we're going through with you, talk to amazing friends, experience all sorts of wonderful things.
Make new friends.
On the Twitchernets. Is that... Okay.
Jesus.
So what's on the docket today, my friend?
Okay.
What are we doing today?
So very exciting day. We got some fun stuff planned. I guess we already kind of spoiled it that we'll be doing Blockbuster. But before we do Blockbuster Party Game, we will be going upstairs into our kitchen, and Malika is going to be cooking. What do we call them? Beef and peppers and beef?
Bell peppers and beef.
Bell peppers and beef.
Which ties directly into our watch along,
which is later today. We're doing Cowboy Bebop Part 2.
Part 2.
I have not seen the show before, so last week we started watching the first 4 episodes, and by the end of episode 4, we decided we were going to watch 5 more episodes until midnight, and then we both barely made it.
It's one of the best
shows
so good. Ever.
It's amazing.
Despite the fact that it's animated, whatever, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. We got all the way through 9 episodes. We're going to start at episode 10 tonight, but Malika's going to be making you some traditional bell peppers and beef,
well,
but
you
with
too.
beef.
You live here.
That's true.
Yeah.
With beef.
So we're doing that, and then I feel like every time we talk about we're going to play Death Stranding, we end up watching like 5 movies in one night.
Oh, we're not doing that tonight. I took it off the schedule. I forgot to tell you before you put out the schedule. By the way, because we're watching probably 8 to 9 episodes of Cowboy Bebop tonight, I'm definitely not playing a video game after.
Alrighty then.
Update. I didn't put it in Slack. That's on me. That's on me.
That deleted. Okay.
Yeah, that's on me.
Great.
That's my fault.
Great. So it looks like we're doing 9 more episodes of Cowboy Bebop tonight.
Yeah, that's on me.
Oh, God help me. And then tomorrow, our watch-along is going to be Inception, Sci Friday. Very, very exciting. And we obviously, you guys, if you guys want to interact with the show, you guys have an opportunity to decide what we watch next Thursday.
That's true.
So we have 3 options for today.
Do you want me to pull it up?
Yeah,
is that my cue?
Why not? That's your cue there, baby boy.
All
there
right.
it is. So you have 3 options. We can either finish Cowboy Bebop, or we can skip and watch Cowboy Bebop, the movie, or we can completely shift to Samurai Champloo.
Those are our options for today. So far, we've already completed here. It looks like next week we've got Evil Dead Watch Along, John Carter Watch Along, Batman Begins was chosen yesterday.
That's right.
And then we'll find out what fills that up tomorrow.
We'll find out what happens today and tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Very, very exciting. You guys, if you wanted to learn how to support, you guys can go to oneshot.straylogic.com.
And your support is very, very much appreciated. And for anyone who might be tuning in for the first time from the front page, welcome, front pagers. If you have any questions at all, the mods in our chat room are extremely well versed in all things us, and they can fill you in on everything that's going on. And please do think about using your Twitch Prime sub or subscription, however you want to do it, just to keep the lights on here as we adapt to these crazy times. And speaking of adapting, we've got an interview today.
We do.
We do have an interview.
We do.
We played a little game.
Hopefully we didn't ruin this.
We played a little game. What was that, Tuesday night?
It
feels like
Tuesday
forever
night.
ago. That was 2 days ago. That was a lifetime ago.
3 weeks, 23 days.
Right.
God help us.
Called The Complex. It is a FMV, a movie with choices, like a choose your own adventure. Should we just jump right into the trailer and get our guests out?
We should.
Let's go to the trailer.
Trailer time.
We stand on the precipice of history. Our teams have been working with some of the country's top scientists.
We need proper assurances about these nanocells, Dr. Tennant.
Why should we continue to bankroll someone so young?
All I can ask is that you trust me. I will deliver.
We need to get you on the scene immediately.
See? How? Nothing leaves or enters the lab without us knowing about it.
The safety of London is paramount. We can't risk a bug getting into the city.
Help me!
Time is running out.
The supply tin's been depleted. There's only one vial left. What are you gonna do?
The nanocells cannot fall into the wrong hands.
Make a decision.
Bring this together.
I trust you.
She'd be sacrificing herself to save millions.
I'm not a murderer. How do I save them both?
Well, there you have it.
Spooky.
Spooky indeed. So joining us today, we have Michelle Mylett and Paul Raschid. Welcome, both of you. Thank you for joining us.
Hey guys, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Also, I love the fact that, just like what Zach was saying, so much Letterkenny happening in our chat room right now,
Nice.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. Very excited to have you both here to talk about this project, which I think it's so interesting that this project came out when it did, because of everything that's kind of going on. You know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are looking for ways to just like spend time with their friends and watch movies and play games. But the watch movies part is a little more complicated. Like, we're in a unique position where we can kind of facilitate that, but not everybody kind of can.
Yeah.
But this, I feel like, is the perfect balance between gaming with your friends, but also watching and interacting with a film. And Paul, you actually made a great point earlier where you were saying how movies, you're kind of like in a lean back experience. You're just kind of letting it wash over you. But with gaming, you're very much like in the front lines. You're in there completely.
Yeah. It's a lean forward experience.
Yeah, exactly. So when you were conceptualizing this whole thing, first, what like inspired this idea, and what was the process like of just writing this and creating this?
Well, interestingly, this is kind of like a dream scenario for most directors, that the project kind of, fell in my lap almost, in the sense that it was actually written by Lynn Renee Maxey, who's a writer on The Handmaid's Tale. And she had been developing it with one of the producers, Jade Alexander, awesome producer, for like 5 years before this. And then basically John Guillaume, who's the other producer, who's sort of quite a prolific and a brilliant producer that I've always wanted to work with here in Wales, in the UK, saw my last film, White Chamber, and was like, look, I've got this film called this interactive film called The Complex. I really like what you did on White Chamber. And I think you could, I'd like you to pitch for The Complex. I think you could bring something really interesting to it. So I pitched, and thankfully they liked it and gave me this massive opportunity. And I've always been a casual gamer in my life. I wouldn't say I'm a gamer per se, because I know that entails, that's a big sort of, that's a big moniker to kind of carry. But I've always been a casual gamer, and most of the scripts that I do write have sort of like played with structure with regards to timelines and stuff like that. So being able to wrap my head around, branching narratives and how to sort of, shoot that and tell a cohesive story on all the different branches, it was a challenge I really relished, and something I was able to wrap my head around really quickly. So it was something I wish I could say I conceptualized it from the beginning and, built it all in my head, but I kind of came on at a later stage when all the conceptualizing and genius had been done beforehand. So, yeah.
And Michelle, was there anything different for you acting in a interactive movie and outside of acting in something like a typical movie?
Yeah, I mean, because of the amount of choices that are presented in this film, it was difficult. We also had some time restrictions. We shot this movie in 4 4 to 5 weeks, I think, total. And we had to shoot like so many different versions of each scene, or not each scene, but like a lot of scenes. So for me, it was kind of like a crazy acting exercise of being able to be like, okay, so in this version, this is how I feel about this character. All right, and now let's like jump to a completely different emotional state, and now we have to jump back to this state. So it was just like being able to kind of quickly snap in and out of different emotions and different relationships was a challenge, and I think a challenge for everybody. But thankfully, Paul was amazing at keeping us all extremely organized and just like giving us the time we needed to make sure that we could perform within that emotion as authentically as possible. But yeah, it was definitely a challenge and different. I've never done anything like that before.
Well, you absolutely killed it. And Paul, I wanted to ask you, how many different endings do you have for the game? Are you even telling people?
There are 8.
8 endings. 8 or 9?
8 or 9 endings. 8 or 9 endings. You put me on the spot there. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, there are 8 endings.
So I don't want to put the chat room on blast, but they made a bunch of wrong choices and gave us a bad ending. We allowed the chat room to make our choices. Well, I mean, it ended up with the lead character's death, so I'm not necessarily I don't know if that's the best choice. But I do have.
If you like up endings or down endings.
Yeah,
it depends, right?
Chat room's just blaming you, so it's fine.
I'm sure they are, but I did have one question and one bone to pick, and I don't know who this bone is better to pick with, whether it's Paul or Michelle here. So, I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah,
okay,
Paul.
this is probably definitely Michelle's call then. Michelle, in that final scene that we had with you, you had a machine gun, a submachine gun, an Uzi, and I don't want to spoil too many things for the audience, but there was a choice made of a certain fuck Emily, and our biggest bone to pick there was like you had a machine gun and there were 2 people standing next to her with machine guns, and you did a great job shooting Emily directly in the chest. You took.
Did I?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got her really good. It was choice. But then you stopped firing, and the other 2 with machine guns responded in kind. And I was just wondering, why not mow down the whole group with the machine gun? And I just was wondering, in that instance, fuck Emily, but also fuck the 2 dudes standing next to her with machine guns pointed at you.
I know, but I think, Amy Tennant is an empathetic human being who only has to make those choices specifically. That's what separates her from a monster.
That
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
way too
like,
good
Those
of
two
an
guys
answer.
were just doing a job. Those guys were just there doing the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just there.
Emily was the one who deserved it.
Maybe they have like families, maybe they're like, in some debt, and they just pick this gig up on the side, and they are school teachers. Like Amy Tennant doesn't know, and she's not gonna do that.
Yeah.
So she's
that was
just a good person.
a very measured response that I regret asking the question.
Here's an even better question. What are your thoughts on Reese? Because my God, we were like, this guy, this character.
Our chat room felt different feelings for Reese than we did. We, as the people having to watch the chat room make these terrible choices, really hated Reese, and honestly think Amy could do a lot better. Spoiler, she died, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but
in our version, at least.
In our version,
yeah.
No, but I mean, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I think Reese is like that guy that sort of just has a hold on you because you know that fundamentally they're good, but they make so many fuckboy choices.
Right.
Yes.
Stop,
right.
But I think we've all been in a situation, whether it's male or female, where you're attracted to somebody that's bad for you, and maybe people can empathize with that,
Yeah. And I was really sad to hear from Paul this morning that a majority of people are choosing to save Reese at the end.
Yeah.
100%. I have not really. I don't think I've seen on Twitter or anything someone who's saved Claire in that end of Act 2 choice. I don't think I've seen it.
Looks like we're replaying that thing this weekend.
Yeah. Looks like I'm gonna have to give Claire the
benefit of the doubt there.
Respect that she fucking well deserves.
That's right. Yeah.
Also, though,
yeah.
Al Weaver, who plays Reese, is a charming son of a gun. Like, he really is. He's got that British charm.
That northern British charm, even
yeah,
more
that
deadly.
northern, that Jon Snow accent. Like, it's just hard to deny him, I think.
Yeah, he's phenomenal actor as well. He's an awesome guy. Yeah. So
yeah, he's great. Yeah,
he won a lot of people over, I guess.
Yeah.
and it surprised me. It honestly did. So, Paul, you said you have a background doing films, and like you have one on Netflix right now that people can go watch if they would like.
Yes, White Chamber. Yeah.
You should go check it out, everybody that's watching.
Please do.
But not right now, because stay here. Don't do
you
it
dare.
now. Wait till later.
Don't go.
Wait 8 hours, in fact, because we're here all day. But then do whatever you want after that. You can do whatever you want after that. But, what was that transition like, and how much time did it take you to wrap your head around shifting from the idea of a very clear goal within your narrative from point A to point B and shifting into that branching narrative mindset?
Well, first of all, I didn't have that much time to do it because I think I came on board at the end of January last year, and then cameras were rolling by start of April, I think, around this time last year. So I didn't, which I think I work best that way when I do have deadlines set for myself. So it was kind of just, it was brilliant. It was like 3 months of just immersing myself in, because obviously I'd played video games that had a similar structure to this, like Heavy Rain, Until Dawn, and I just sort of like refreshed on those, which are amazing, by the way. Everyone needs to play those,
good,
especially Until Dawn. I loved Until Dawn. I think that's just such a brilliant example of like a great interactive narrative. And obviously, Wales Interactive's last film, Late Shift, which I think is fantastic. Obviously, The Great Bandersnatch, which kind of really put this format on the map in a mainstream way. So it was kind of, immersing myself in all the limited but brilliant content that is in the space, and kind of formulating my own ideas about it, my own logic, my own patterns of thinking as to what makes an interesting narrative and what makes interesting decisions. Because I think if you want to hook the audience, you need to place a stake on every single decision that is there, whether that is an emotional stake or a moral stake, or wanting to learn more about a certain character. So it's an expositional stake in some ways. So I think it was kind of almost just a crash course that I kind of had to do myself, like a university kind of study. So it was really interesting, and I had only sort of like 3-4 months to do it. So it was like really intense, but so fun and enjoyable.
So a question for both of you, when it comes to, so you come into this project, it's kind of written out and kind of structured out, but once you kind of get into, for Michelle, into your character, and then for you as like the director, is there a lot of collaboration? And once you really start feeling out the characters, do you at any point make alterations to any choices based on, new things that you discover about the character? Or do you kind of, because you came into it where it was already kind of like planned out or written out at least, do you kind of stick with what was there?
I mean, for me, it's like you prep your character the way that you always do, or whatever that looks like. But it was kind of a great lesson in, we were sort of talking about improv before. It wasn't at all improvised, but being flexible with switching up, so you can have an idea in your head about how you'd like the scene to play out, but then you realize that that doesn't work within this format, or because we have to go here and we were just somewhere else before, and we have so many different options, and you kind of have to be able to like adjust really quickly. And so I think we all sort of, it was a new thing. We didn't have the time to, have a full day of just like one scene. We had to like move really quickly, be adaptable, listen to Paul, and just like trust him, because again, he was the leader of this ship big time, and like directors usually are, but like he really had a crazy job in just keeping things organized and knowing where we all were and where we had to go. And so I think I can speak for all the actors, at least, like we were super lucky to have Paul be there for us, or else, I don't know, it could have been a disaster.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Michelle. By the same token, I think Michelle was doing herself a disservice, because we did have a little rehearsal period beforehand. And that was actually where, as you guys have referenced before, that Reese and Amy relationship, that was something it was a very unique type of relationship, that what came as a byproduct of what Michelle brought as such a multifaceted actress to the character of Amy, and what Al brought to the character of Reese, that it wasn't, their relationship didn't have quite that dynamic on the page. They brought so much extra to it emotionally. I mean, there's one scene in particular which we actually shot a few different emotional ways, and which wasn't initially in the script, which is when, if you get this, when Reese gets stabbed in the leg, spoiler alert, and you pick the option to clean his wound with water. Al and Michelle actually, on the day, through the different takes, experimented with different emotions.
Oh my God, that slap was one of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
Oh man, that slap was so good. So good. I mean, we were on train fuck Reese from the start, so that slap was choice.
We were like,
you needed that slap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those kind of organic moments really sort of, a few of them were on the page, a few of them weren't, and they kind of really came from that rehearsal period. And even on set, sometimes just the vibe between Michelle and Al to just kind of make that kind of magic that you get sometimes just on set was, really testament to how fantastic they were. Not only having to hold all the information in their head, but also bring new things all the time. That was fantastic. And, it's a testament to how brilliant they both are.
Aw, thanks, Paul.
Was there any consideration, and I don't know the production schedule, but was there any consideration of trying to shoot this in order just to help you guys keep track of what was happening? Or was that just like, was it just like a regular movie where it's an impossibility, you just kind of have to go with whatever the schedule dictates?
No, I always actually try to shoot things as chronologically as possible, just because I prefer it. I think actors prefer it. I think crew prefer it. Those people who have read the script and the ones who haven't read the script, because they can get on, they can hop on board about what's going on if they have some kind of idea, and they can see it unfolding on set. I just think it makes everybody's lives easier, creatively. But obviously I know it's totally impossible in some productions, but it's something I always really strive for if we can. And I think we largely did. I mean, definitely the first day of shoot was that whole Kinder tent scene. All of that was shot in one day on the first day. And that's, we really chucked them in at the deep end. Like that first scene that we shot in that tent was it's the first scene that you see. So I think that really helped. Michelle, you might be able to, shed more light on how you felt about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's rare that you get to shoot in order, like Paul said, because usually it's impossible. So it was nice, especially in something like this that I did find I was quite nervous walking into this project just because of the amount that it is and was. But it was a nice way to kind of get in and start the movie and also just kind of get those initial nerves out and really just hone in on okay, so this is the tone, this is where we're starting from. And then you could always just refer. Sorry, we can always just refer back to that first state, because it just it's that was the tone, and it was made very clear, which was nice. So yeah.
So for all the people who are watching right now, if you get active in the chat room, we have a code of the game to give away.
That's true.
So one of the mods will pull a winner, but you can't win unless you say something in the chat. So what do you want to know from the chat today? Yesterday we asked them what their favorite cookie was.
Ooh.
What do you want to know about the chat today?
Oh, that's a good question. Thanks for putting me on the spot there.
Okay, meatloaf or lasagna?
Oh.
Are you a meatloaf or a lasagna person? Let us know in the chat. You can't technically win a code unless you say something in the chat. So you might as well answer the question, meatloaf or lasagna. So we're going to shift.
There's only one right answer.
Okay. Whoa. You have opinion. There's opinions on this.
Let's get into it.
All right, let's go. What do you got?
I mean, it's got to be lasagna, surely.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I mean, is it even a debate?
Okay, I was worried that you were going to say meatloaf, and it was going to be this weird tension for the rest of the show.
Oh, wow. I guess the tension's there because I'm allergic to dairy, so I was going meatloaf.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, that's 3-1, so get out of here.
Wow. Okay. It's also that I'm worried my wife might be watching upstairs, and she makes meatloaf and doesn't make lasagna.
She's going to come downstairs and
if I say lasagna, I'm in deep shit.
Yeah, that's true. You're a wise man.
Yeah, I've already been yelled at once for being like, "Oh, your meatloaf's okay." I got trouble for that.
Oh my God.
I got in trouble for that.
The one thing that I do want to bring up. So this was my first experience. We refer to it as a let's play, and I kind of keep going back and forth, what do I call this thing? An interactive movie? But in any case, I thought it was so incredibly fun doing this, and I really would like to see more of these types of projects because, especially because of the kind of the situation that we're in, I think it's an amazing way to spend time with your friends and spend time we're lucky enough again that we get to do with an audience, and I thought that was great that we were able to get the audience involved on the choices. Do you guys think, and maybe there are a lot of conversations happening out there about this type of stuff, but do you think that this is something that more studios and filmmakers should embrace, or do you think you need to kind of have a particular outlook on what you want to make before you do something like this? Because I feel like this would be very complicated to even design.
Paul, I'm gonna let you get in on this.
Well, I think such is the nature of people out there at the moment. A lot of things that I read about interactive format is, especially from the film side, a lot of people are kind of turning their nose up at it in a certain way because they think that interactive film is trying to replace linear and traditional film in some way, or but it's not that. It's an alternative format. It's a different format that's a hybrid between the two. It's not here to replace any kind of video game format or any kind of film format. It's here to be its own thing, because I think now more than ever, when this golden age where people are consuming so much content and there's such a demand for it, having alternative formats and ways of viewing things and enjoying things and experiencing things can only be a good thing. So that's why I really enjoy the format as a consumer myself. So I think that there's definitely space for it, and there's definitely and we're going to find out over the coming years, 2, 3, 4 years, how big that audience is. But I think it is considerable enough for more things to get made and things to get made on a bigger scale, on a bigger budget, studios to get involved. But no one's saying to sacrifice any of the other great traditional films or traditional games. I think it's just there's space for this.
And I'm going to put Adam on blast here a little bit. Part of the issue is he's just not cultured, and he's just unaware of how.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm shutting the show down.
You just got to get your shit together, man. There's a ton of FMVs out there. You just got to culture yourself.
Okay. Well, there isn't one for Letterkenny yet, so when
I'm going to kick your ass at Blockbuster. You're going down today, man.
Yeah, well,
there's
we'll see.
no way.
Yeah, well,
no way at
we'll see
all.
who's crying later. But no, oh my God, if they made a Letterkenny FMV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how's that? Okay.
I don't care how they do it. Just do it.
Yeah, how would that?
Speaking of which, so we're obviously big fans of the show, and we made an oath that we would do our best to not quote the show.
Okay, pitter patter, come on.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do it. You did it before me. But you guys did have a tour that you were going to do, and now it's been postponed. Can you give us a little bit of information, like what the tour kind of entailed? And you probably have no idea as of right now when that's going to come back.
Yeah, well, we were on tour. We left end of February, and the tour is a North American tour. It was myself and 8 of the other lead guys. So it was me and the boys on a tour bus, and we were starting in. Yeah, it was great, but. Anyways, we started in PEI, and then we were ending end of April in Los Angeles, and it was 42 shows.
Wow.
In 39 cities, and it was a monster. And we did 9 shows. The last show that we did was in Detroit. We played at the Masonic Temple, which is a pretty iconic theater space. It was super beautiful, and it was amazing. It was our first American show, and it went really well, and we were super stoked. We were on a high, and the show started to feel really great, and then we went to Buffalo, New York. We had a day off, and it just the tone online with news just really switched in a span of 24 hours. I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but it was just all of a sudden, it was just holy shit, this is really serious. And we're doing meet and greets. We met probably 2,000 people, and in those 9 shows, shaking hands, taking photos, and Letterkenny is a really it's a really warm show, small town values. And so for us to have gone into theaters and canceled meeting people felt really just not what the show is about or what we're trying to put out there. So that was tricky. And then, we literally just got a call like 20 minutes before we were heading to the venue being like, so the tour is postponed. You have 20 minutes and we have to get into the tour bus and cross the border because we...
not sure if you'd be able to get back.
Well, exactly. And literally it was like if we had waited 2 more days, people were like waiting at the border for like 8 hours.
Jeez.
and stuff. So we left right away, we left at the right time, but it was pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And we feel shitty because a lot of people, were reaching out and they're really disappointed and stuff. But I think everybody understands when the NBA, when they canceled the season, I think everyone was like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys ever do make it down to LA, we will definitely come to the show because we are super excited about it.
Yeah.
Super excited. But kind of piggybacking off that, how are the two of you doing?
Yeah, we probably should have started with that question.
Honestly, like how are you doing? Because the whole world is on lockdown. Like how are you guys doing? How are you adapting? Like any advice or anything you want to say to people? Because I mean, like I said, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And for all the front page viewers who sometimes just come into the chat and yell at us because we're sitting too close to each other, we live together. We live here in this studio.
This is already...
Yeah, we live here, and we haven't left in 3 weeks. And we're going fucking crazy.
What does the outside world even look like anymore?
Yeah, we're going crazy. But how are you guys doing?
Paul, do you want to start us off?
It's to be honest, for me, it's like, things are getting really bad in the UK at the moment. I think the last 2-3 days, our death tolls has really skyrocketed. So it's we're kind of in the eye of the storm at the moment, as other countries in Europe are. So it's kind of like it's now more important than ever that people just take it seriously, don't go outside. And I haven't, I've been kind of in lockdown for the last sort of 2-3 weeks. For me, it's kind of it's a lifestyle that I'm not sort of like too averse to, because it's kind of like, as a writer director, you're either, directing where you're out and about meeting loads of people on the go all the time, or you're writing, which is kind of self-imposed lockdown, where it is literally you wake up, you go to your desk, you write for a long period of time, you stay indoors, and then, you exercise and fill in your breaks with little things, and then go to bed and rinse and repeat for a series of weeks. So it's kind of a routine. I mean, I made sure that I started a new screenplay to give my day structure that I have, every day. I have a reason to work and stuff like that. So for me, but I know a lot of my friends, it's like a total, it's a lifestyle that they're not used to at all. And, they were really struggling. But I think people are starting to get used to it. Mm-hmm. And they just realize they have to do it. Most importantly. So everything's good here, as far as my close friends and family are concerned. But what about you, Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, I think having a project right now is incredibly important for everybody, and it doesn't matter what that looks like. It doesn't have to be a time where you're like productive and making the best of it. Like, it's also fine to have days when you're just like feeling really sad and you just want to binge watch The Simpsons or whatever you do.
Or the Complex. Or the Complex.
Or the Complex. Little plug. Yeah, I mean, we bought a house end of last year that's like a real fixer-upper. So we've just been doing like lots of house projects, and it's actually been such a blessing to have the time to both my boyfriend and I be here and do work on it. And it gives us something to do. We also have a dog, and she's been like a huge, oh my gosh, it's just such a nice energy to have around. It's really comforting. I mean, she's always comforting, but especially in a time like this. Yeah, I mean, as far as advice, like I think we're all just doing our best. And like I said before, it's okay to feel down in the dumps.
Yep.
I think that's completely normal, because this is really uncharted territory and we don't know what's going to happen. And anytime you're facing the unknown, it's a shitty feeling and it's scary, and it's totally valid to feel all those feels. So, yeah.
And we want to remind everybody watching, wash your damn hands.
Wash your damn hands.
Just wash them.
Just wash them.
Wash
just a little wash. Just wash.
Just a little sing happy birthday
That's
as
right.
you wash them.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
And speaking of washing hands, Garcetti sent out something, I think today, announcing now it's also required to wear a mask if you go out.
Our mayor, our LA mayor, announced that if you want to go out, you now have to wear a mask. Yeah, which it's we talked about
Where are
this.
you even getting masks though? Like, are they?
They're sold out, but they said
yeah.
in the notification that went out, it was just like you can use house masks, just something,
just to
anything
cover yourself
to cover
up.
your mouth,
cover your mouth,
and stop from spreading if you have to go out to the grocery store and stuff like that.
So you could make like out of fabric. You could make like
pretty
a little.
much.
Speaking of, in our VODs, Malika, who's doing our survival skills segment next and cooking bell peppers and beef for you all out of whatever's around, last week she taught you guys how to sew a mask from home with the supplies that you have around.
Cool.
So I'm covered because Malika's awesome and does shit like that. But for other people, I mean, whatever you have is better than nothing.
Or you can just be like me and not leave the house.
Or just never leave.
Yeah.
Some of the memes are really funny about that, where people are like walking around with like bras on their faces. And
Yeah,
stuff like
like
that. So like
thong. The little old man wearing a black thong on his head is great.
Holy shit, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Why did you look at me like that?
Because you don't have a mask. Look, I've got one upstairs. You can have it.
Wait, what? Your own personal?
Okay.
It's no big deal. We had a partnership with MeUndies for a while. Look, man.
You're not wrong.
We got in the cotton and the MeUndies.
Oh yeah, it's just real
quality,
choice. Yeah,
quality.
Just pizza
quality.
chef. Oh,
we
God.
need
good on your skin,
we got to talk to MeUndies again. There's a new business model here,
Mis
man.
Chonies, during the apocalypse. Oh boy. So I mean, oh my God. Yeah, it's been a really interesting time. But I think the thing that the nice thing for us, being able to interview people who are from all over the world, I think everybody, every country, every city, every state, they're all dealing with things differently. So I think for us, it's nice to get some context from people outside of our world to see how everybody is coping and dealing. And I know every town has their own restrictions and regulations and things that they're doing. So I think it's really important for us to be able to, again, we always talk about this every day. We're not a news show. We're not a news show in the slightest bit. At all.
In fact,
we're too dumb.
We're probably your worst source of information. So you should probably find better places to get your information. Listen to your local leaders, especially unless your local leaders are idiots, then listen to somebody else. But
listen to scientists.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Listen to doctors.
Yeah.
That's all I've been doing is just trying to source credible doctors who work in the fields, working and studying viruses and pathogens and stuff. It's like, just listen, whatever they're doing, I'm doing, you know?
I've seen this question come up a couple times in the chat room, so I guess I'll ask the question. Again, contextual, just for context of the world chat room.
What's this? What do you got?
A lot of people are asking about season 9 of Letterkenny.
Oh.
But because of everything that's happening, that's probably a hard question to answer, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have a season in the bank that we shot. So it will be coming out. So we shot the last season that we shot, season 9, I guess technically, we shot it, when did we shoot it? November into early December of 2019. So that should be coming out this summer. So it will be coming out. Sorry guys, my phone.
Oh.
I'm still here. Yeah, I might have to run and get a charger though. I didn't realize
it's all good.
Batteries. Sorry guys. But yeah, so that will be coming out, and then the plan is to film another 2 seasons in August and then November again.
Damn,
okay,
that's a lot of Letterkenny.
Yeah,
so we got stuff to watch.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, again, we're like everybody else. We have no idea. We can't make any guarantees. We just hope that by summer we'll be able to film and be back on a set. I don't know what it's gonna look like.
For sure,
I really don't, especially with travel. But that's the hope. So yeah. Well, fingers and toes are crossed.
We have to be on our best behavior here, but chat room, you don't. So chat, why don't you go ahead, just in case Michelle gets a chance to watch this later and see the chat room, why don't you fill the chat with your favorite Letterkenny quotes? Just so
Strap in. It's going to get crazy.
Just so I don't do it. So just flood the chat with your favorite Letterkenny quotes. But I think we have some other news topics to talk about today, other things going on. If you guys want to stick around and join us and give your insights and thoughts on those things. Adam here's a real good boy and gets the news articles ready in the morning while I'm getting tech ready.
All right, thanks, Dad. Appreciate that. Thanks for that handout.
Really good boy.
Yeah, really good.
What a
Thanks.
setup.
Like I'm your second dog.
You're welcome.
Don't touch me.
You're
Get
welcome,
out of here.
son.
Get out of here. Get out of here. So the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that's coming to Disney Plus at some point in the future. Who knows when? Just landed a new writer. Joby Harold will be writing the show. He previously wrote King Arthur: Legend of the Sword, and he also is the writer for the upcoming Zack Snyder film Army of the Dead. Deborah Chow is going to be directing this whole entire series.
Ooh.
And episode 3 of The Mandalorian was Pizza Chef.
So good.
So good. So good. What are your thoughts on just the show in general? And then for our guests, have you guys had a chance to watch The Mandalorian, or what other things have you discovered or are you watching currently that you've really enjoyed?
I mean, we're all trapped on lockdown, so
Everyone's gotta be watching stuff.
you're watching something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're definitely watching something.
Michelle?
I haven't watched The Mandalorian, and I'm feeling like an idiot
No.
because it's obviously great. Like you guys are.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
Baby
it's
Yoda,
okay.
baby Yoda, right?
Yeah.
Sold on
Yeah.
Baby Yoda, to be honest.
I know. So I haven't seen that, but that sounds intriguing. I just finished season 3 of Ozark, and it blew my mind.
Nice. I haven't watched
Did
it
you guys?
yet.
Have you watched any Ozark?
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm from Southern Missouri, so it's like Southern Missouri, Northern Arkansas. So that show hits really close to home sometimes, just like Letterkenny does. And I'm all the way through season 2, but Malika and I are waiting for the right moment to start season 3 because we're gonna need that time. It's a big time investment.
Yeah.
That might be this weekend. We did Tiger King last weekend. This weekend we'll do.
I haven't watched that.
Oh,
I haven't either.
Oh, dude.
I know. I know. That's up next. That's up next. So yeah, Ozark season 3 is what I've been watching, and then I also just started. I'm late to this, but Better Call Saul.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm so late to this, but I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan,
Me
so I'm really
too.
excited to get into that.
I think.
haven't watched it yet.
What season are you on right now of Better Call Saul?
Literally season 1, episode 4.
Man,
so,
it starts off good, but by season 4, and I can't believe I'm saying
4
this.
seasons
Oh,
already?
it's at 5 now.
Holy
But
shit.
At season 4, I sat there and went, oh shit, did this just get better than Breaking Bad?
well, hey, this is what I hear, that it's better than Breaking Bad.
Like
Wow.
season 4 kicked in a whole new gear, and season 1, 2, and 3 are really strong, but 4 started, and it was just something about it just kept hitting on the right cylinders every episode, and I was like, oh fuck, this is so good.
Wow.
It's one of Malika and I's favorites. It's
Okay,
amazing.
I guess
So
I need to
good.
catch up on 4 damn seasons of a show.
Yeah,
God,
well,
there's so much stuff out there.
there's so much. Wait, did you ever finish Breaking Bad?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We were about to
Okay.
not be friends anymore.
Good. Yeah.
Do I look like uncultured swine to you? Don't answer that question.
Well,
what about you?
well, you remember how Malika finished Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah, she Wikipedia did, right?
Okay, does anyone else have this problem? Does anyone else? Okay, so here's the thing. I love my wife. She's the best. She's up next. She'll be cooking with you all. But she does this thing. We're very short on time here at our company. We're live all the time. And she'll do this thing where we're in the middle of a show and she'll stay up late, watch an episode, I'll fall asleep, and then the next morning I'll be talking about it, and then the next night comes all right, let's start the show again. She's like, well, what do we watch this other thing? I'm like, wait a minute. What happened while I was asleep? What the fuck happened? And then she'll eventually reveal, oh well, I Wikipedia'd the show and I read the ending, and I don't really need to watch anymore. I know what happens.
That's tough. That's tough.
And she did that right in the middle of the Gus Fring storyline, and I was just like, what? You don't even get to see how that ends? The build-up of that? Oh, it
I wonder
hurt.
how long it's going to take her to come down here and just
Smack
completely
me?
just...
And smack you.
Yeah.
Well, the next show is hers. The next show is hers. You get 2 hours of her, so the shade that will be thrown at me is unimaginable. We'll be fine.
Chirps are coming.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
What about for you, Paul?
For me, well, Disney Plus only just dropped here quite recently.
Oh, that's right. It just
Oh,
launched there.
yeah.
Exactly. So I've been spending a lot of money on the PlayStation Store, on the Complex as well. I bought a copy of that, as should the viewers. But so I haven't got around to, because I've already got Netflix and Amazon, so I haven't got around to getting Disney Plus yet. But it's on the to-do list because I really want to see The Mandalorian above all else. For sure. Because I'm a Star Wars fan. I wouldn't say I'm a super fan or anything, but I'm a Star Wars fan. So
yeah, you got to be careful throwing that around on the internet.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
You watched it in what order? Whoa.
Hey, chill out here.
Okay.
I enjoyed The Last Jedi. Oh, hey. I thought it was good.
But at the moment, I watched because I was a big fan of Euphoria, which was came out with the HBO show last year, and then I sort of saw this show on Netflix which is called Dare Me, which is kind of like about high school cheerleaders and stuff like that. So that was kind of like quite interesting. I watched that. I watched the final season of BoJack Horseman, which was amazing.
So sad.
Which was absolutely fantastic.
It's so sad.
Awesome. And I rewatched Hannibal because like I love that show. It's so weird and twisted, but I think it's awesome. Like the way it's shot is just absolutely spectacular, and Mads Mikkelsen is just
so
like
good.
the best.
So good.
Good old Mads. Good old the Mads. Good old crying eye Mads.
Yeah.
But as far Adam as the Obi-Wan series, like I'm excited that Deborah Chow is directing and showrunning the whole, which is amazing because I think one of the problems with Mandalorian is the consistency is not there. You'll have one episode that's phenomenal and the next episode that's super average, and then you'll have to Waititi come in and do one that's so good that you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of having a consistent director on a show, like especially for a streaming service, just to keep it tight. So I'm pumped for that, but I could care less about who's like, like
just write something good.
Well, yeah,
please.
it's like I don't at that point. It's been in development for how long, and who knows how long after that. Like, I'm not going to get myself like worked up over like, oh, Obi-Wan's finally coming.
It kind of depends on the tone that you're going for, I guess, when you're choosing writers and directors. Because I think, especially with Star Wars, they've gone through, thinking about the films. You think about something like Rogue One, which tonally was something a lot darker and more serious and gritty than perhaps the other titles. And then there was the whole thing with the Han Solo film that it didn't work out with the Lego movie directors. So by hiring them, it would indicate that initially they wanted a lighter touch on that film, and then it didn't work out for some reason. So I guess by the writer that they hired, if he's worked on Guy Ritchie films, it would indicate he's quite action orientated. So that's probably the kind of that may be an indicator of what they're going for, or may not be an indicator of what they're going for, kind of thing.
Yeah.
What else you got, Adam?
If you've ever wanted to go to South by Southwest,
right back, you guys.
You're great.
Sounds good. If you've ever wanted to go to South by Southwest, now is a perfect opportunity because Amazon and South by are teaming up to create a virtual festival. So they haven't announced when this is going to launch exactly, but sometime soon when it does launch, you'll be able to use your Amazon account or sign up for a free Amazon account, and all the movies that were supposed to go to the festival will now be available to stream on Amazon. So I think what's really fun about that is for everybody in the audience, you will have an opportunity to experience an amazing new slate of movies from brand new or seasoned directors in the industry. And I think it's really, really cool that Amazon is putting this on as well. And what they're going to be doing is they're actually going to be paying the filmmakers who participate and submit their movies to this. But they did also say that it's very possible that some filmmakers may not participate if they are trying to go for some theatrical different sort of like VOD acquisition.
I'm sure the contract negotiations through all this is absolutely crazy, like getting all this figured out. But it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm pumped about this. This is some good news. Being able to share that with anyone with the Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime. I say Twitch Prime because it's in my brain.
You're in dad mode.
I know, right? Having just an Amazon account, being able to see these films is so cool.
Yeah.
Something I've hoped somebody would do for so long.
Yeah, and they did say that the movies will hopefully have presentations with the filmmakers. So probably some sort of like a combination of a Skype or Zoom call where they can give you a little behind the scenes look of how that movie was made. And I mean, I like that sort of stuff. I like being able to experience a festival, but then also have we'll call it one-on-one time with a filmmaker where they can really talk about the movie.
And I know immediately somebody in chat was like, well, not everyone has an Amazon Prime account. Well, yeah, no shit.
You can sign up for free.
But you can sign up for
you
free
don't have
30
to have
days
Amazon Prime.
the second this thing starts.
Yeah.
And also, it's a small price to pay for admission to a film festival.
Yeah.
And seeing all these movies.
Instead of having to like airfare, lodging,
and something like Sundance.
Pass.
Like, I've never been to Sundance. I've wanted to go for years. I've never been to Sundance. Yeah. Like that's such an unachievable thing for so many people in the industry, and to just be like, you know what, you all can go. Let's put it online. Everybody can watch the movies. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. So kind of a question for everybody at the table. You might have missed some. So just for context.
Sorry, me just popping back in.
Yeah, it's all good.
My phone's gonna die, and I got all stressed, so I'm good now.
You're good.
Just for context, Amazon and South by Southwest are teaming up, and they're doing a virtual film festival. And anybody who has an Amazon account, whether it's Prime or free, will be able to watch all the movies that are submitted. And then on top of that, Amazon is going to pay the filmmakers who submit their films. So the question kind of for everybody around the table, one, do you think this is a really great strategy for filmmakers to be able to get their films exposed to great audiences? Two, do you think that this has the potential to maybe create a new type of film festival or evolve what traditional film festivals could become?
Yeah, I think that it's like, I think if this time has taught, or at least just started the conversation about like, oh, working from home in general for like so many different industries, and like, do we need shared workspaces in general, or does it all, can a lot of it exist online and then therefore accessing so many different people all over the world? I think it's really great because even when you go to a film festival, you know, you're not seeing everything. You can't possibly, even like, especially with the short films, which is always my favorite thing to watch at, like, I've only ever been to TIFF really. But I always love going to see the short films, and then you watch them and then you can't ever find them anywhere.
Yeah.
Like they don't exist anywhere. And so it's cool to be able to like, be like, okay, it's all online for me. I'm going to watch this one tonight and this one. And then I can, you know, you're not like scrambling to fit it all in or trying to like make tough choices. It really gives you access to all this amazing art that you might miss otherwise. So I think it's really cool. I kind of feel like these films should be available, even, you know, doing the actual film festival, because that's an amazing experience for so many other reasons, just meeting all the people. But yeah, for film lovers all over the world who don't have the money or the access or whatever it is that can't be there, they should still be able to see what people are making.
And for some of the smaller film festivals as well, who are perhaps not a bit more underfunded than, you know, your Sundances and your South by Southwest and your TIFFs and so on and so forth, you know, this could be a huge platform to really put their festival on the map and showcase, you know, especially if they're, you know, are very specialized in a certain genre or, you know, a certain type of film or anything like that, that it gives a whole scope for, you know, a worldwide audience that they perhaps wouldn't have had if they were, you know, just a physical film festival that people had to attend in person.
Nice. Yeah, I'm pumped. I think this is great news, man. I'm so glad you shared this with me because today sucked until then. You guys are great, but today sucked until then.
I feel like we should like try to find a way to do some sort of like watch along or something.
Well, we're working on it.
Yeah.
I'll say we're working on it.
Allegedly.
But yeah, allegedly it's being worked on. I can't say any more than that. Allegedly. But one thing I want to say, Adam, before we jump to our next topic, I saw a couple people in the chat room saying like, is sub mode on? Because it's weird when you see that we have this many viewers, but there's not many non-subs talking. So I want to encourage everyone who's watching from the front page, hop over into the chat room, join the discussion, join the conversation. This is live content. We are here Monday through Friday at 1 p.m., and then we go live. I mean, we actually started at 11, but our little cookie boy this morning had to go to the dentist, which sucks having to go to the dentist in the middle of all this.
I thought that was an option, but I guess,
that's a big bag of nope for me there.
So, you know, we're here all day, every day, Monday through Friday, and we'd love for you to hop in the chat, join us, talk, the Hyper Fam. We have programming all day long. So please, just hang out. Have a good time.
Challenge for you in the chat room. Tell us, what's your new favorite show and or game or movie that you've discovered since camp or since social isolation? Or social distancing.
Ours.
Ours.
Our social distance is better than yours. But what's your next topic there, boss?
So I think this will probably be the topic we wrap out on. There was a Comic-Con International. They made a statement about San Diego Comic-Con. They took quite a while to announce that WonderCon was being postponed. And Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con being one of the biggest conventions in the world, we're still sort of waiting to see and find out. And they made an announcement basically saying that, like, we know we haven't made any sort of like official announcements about whether or not we're going to postpone or cancel the event. We're monitoring the situation. We're waiting to see kind of what happens. Meanwhile, a bunch of games and movies, like they just announced today, I think it's like Top Gun, A Quiet Place. A few other things are constantly shifting dates and pushing to either the end of the year or all the way into 2021. And I think everybody's kind of looking at San Diego Comic-Con going, Are you really going to wait this long to pull the trigger?
Oh, of course
on
they are.
Discouraging over 200,000 people from congregating into a little convention center?
It's probably not just them, though.
Yeah.
It's probably also the entire city that's lobbying them like, oh, my God, please keep it. The amount of bars and local businesses that survive only on Comic-Con.
Because of Comic-Con, yeah.
That city is so quiet, and then you go for Comic-Con, you're like, this is it. This is literally their income for the year.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of lobbying going on from the local, businesses to keep it up. I did see you put them on blast this morning, though, right after they tweeted it.
I did?
Didn't you tweet out just cancel it already?
100%. I'm from San Diego. I don't need any more people getting sick at home.
Yeah,
Come on.
I get that.
God damn it.
I feel like it's a complex issue, and it's
It
probably
is.
a really tough call because
It is.
I just imagine all of those local businesses that will just disappear.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen.
Yeah, for sure. So, question for you guys. I'm sure you guys have been to conventions before. You were talking about going to TIFF and stuff like that. At what point do you think you personally will feel comfortable going back out into any sort of event type of space? I mean, we even talked about something as simple as going to the movies. I will probably wait a couple weeks before I feel fully comfortable going out. But I mean, for you guys, when you're doing something like a tour and you're dealing with 2,000 people potentially a day, at what point do you think you'll feel comfortable going back out?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this is all going to play out. If it's going to be we're all in quarantine, isolation, and then it's today's the day, everybody, hit the streets. Is that how it's going to happen?
Yeah.
Or is it a phase in? I think I'm just going to I don't know. I'm Canadian, so I really trust my government. So I'm just gonna
what the fuck is that like? What?
Tell me what to do.
Hold on.
Can we talk about this unicorn?
Whoa! Oh, bomb dropped. Clip it. We have to document this. Now I have so many questions.
I know. I mean, okay. I'm really impressed with the way that Justin Trudeau is handling this crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there are certain things in any government where you're kind of what the fuck? But this particular one, I think they've done a bang up job. And I'm just going to like I said earlier, I'm just going to follow the scientists' lead. And whenever they say, but I think for my own anxiety, you're probably, I feel the same way. I'll probably be really nervous. Probably won't put myself in highly social situations right away. It'll also be weird seeing people. I'll have super bad social anxiety.
Do I hug you? Do I elbow you?
As an introvert, that's just normal life for me. We live here and run this studio. This is not much different than our usual life. And anytime a convention's coming up and it's just God,
I don't want con crud.
I'm going to get sick either way.
Yeah.
And you are right about that. Con crud's already a thing at San Diego. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, you're getting sick just from con crud, and then on top of that, there's this virus that's out there, and it's oh no, let's not spread this again, please.
And exactly, because that's the thing, right? It's so we go out in the world, and then it flares up again, and then we all have to go back into quarantine. That is also a concern.
Well, yeah, I think in Hong Kong, there's already starting to be a second wave once they started getting things back into normal life, and now it's people are getting sick again. I think, I guess you're not going to completely stamp it out until there is a vaccine developed, and that's months and months away. But I do think, I think you guys are right that there will be a point before next year when the vaccine comes up that people will trying to start, getting society back up and running. So we'll have to see.
It's wild and it's rough because a lot of our income comes from cons. I mean, in the summer, some of our biggest gigs are running live events for conventions, meeting fans at conventions, and doing all that kind of stuff. So thinking that the whole convention center, summer, could be canceled is just it's wild.
The con industry. Yeah.
And how will that change things? I mean, ReedPop already has ReedPop and San Diego Comic-Con. For those that don't know, run most of the conventions in the United States.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is unfortunately all those other small cons. I don't know how they come back from this.
Right.
And it's going to allow those two companies to create an even bigger hold. It might even allow ReedPop to take over San Diego Comic-Con if they're not careful. It's one of the last ones that's separate. But it's wild. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And it's probably one of those things that only, like, I know we talk about it in LA a lot because conventions are so much of people's income out here.
Yeah.
And I do wonder how normal people at home, like, how does it affect you? Did you have plans to go to conventions? And, you know, now you're like, even ones that haven't been canceled yet. Like, do you have San Diego Comic-Con hotels? Are you ready? Did you get through the lottery?
Yeah.
And are you now thinking about not going?
And that's the big thing about these big conventions is, like, it's a process for people. Like, there's a lottery with tickets, there's a lottery with hotels.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine, like, how much stress that puts on a regular person who's not even a part of the con, is just going as a guest to have to, like, take all those things into consideration. But yeah.
Well, that's actually, it's 2:00.
It is.
That went really fast.
That did.
That went really fast.
Very quick.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to our guests today.
Yes.
Michelle and Paul, you're both amazing individuals.
Thank you guys so much for sticking around with
Thank
us
you.
two dummies.
No, you guys are awesome. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having us, and you know, it really means a lot when, you know, that the Complex resonated with you guys, and that you really, you know, you want to support it in the way of having us on.
It was fun.
And have
It was
people
really
stare
fun.
at our faces for an hour. So no, that means so much, and you know, I love what you guys are doing, honestly. You know, to provide entertainment and, you know, content, you know, every single day for hours on end to people in a situation like this, that's really cool. That's really, really cool. And, you know, we really, really appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Coming up next, upstairs is Malika. She's going to be cooking bell peppers and beef.
Come learn how to cook. It's the perfect time. You got nothing else to do. Don't lie to me.
She's a great teacher. So don't go anywhere. Chat room, I'm looking at you. Don't go anywhere. Stay. We will make this.
dare move.
We will make this switch so fast. There's
You
no
won't
one
even
else.
notice.
There's no one else working here. I have to get up, run to a computer, switch things over, check the audio, get everything. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to do this as quick as I can. So stay right where you are. Thank you guys so much. Stick around, everybody.
Thanks, guys.